Welcome to Before the Score, episode number 16. I'm Steve Samra, and we're coming to you live via Discord for the second straight week. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm wearing my Wrestlemania jersey because it's our Wrestlemania special. But even though there are no sports in the world, there is still sports news. And one of the biggest pieces of news is that the Dolphins are looking to trade up to number 1 for Joe Burrow. Now, Andrew Morgan, you tell me, should the Dolphins make this move?
I don't think they will, because from what I understand is the Bengals would have to receive a ton to move down to number 5, because they, just like the Dolphins, they love Joe Burrow. He's one of the best prospects to come out in a while. He had arguably the best quarterback season of all time for a college player. So, I mean, you're looking at least like 3 first-round picks and more. So if it's something like that, I don't think the drop-off between Joe Burrow to Tua is worth 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, I would have to agree because I don't like the move for them because the Dolphins are in a position where they need to rebuild and they're progressing. They're signing, they got a Byron Jones, like a type player. They're going to have to keep signing people, and they need a lot of draft capital. And when you're looking at what the Bengals are going to want from the Dolphins is going to be multiple first-round picks, maybe the 5th pick, and then their other 2 picks in the first round this year or a pick next year. The Dolphins have 2 picks next year. To me, I like Tua to the Dolphins. I like that move for them to pick him at 5. I think Tua, personally, I wouldn't be surprised he has a better career than Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Dan, Andrew. Honestly, Dan, I think you said it the best. Personally, right now, just like as I stated last week, the Miami Dolphins are not in a win-now situation. So to me, this is kind of not really a win-now move because they're not really, very close. But when you talk about having so many draft picks, and trading away, a few draft picks just for 1 pick. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just a prospect. He's unproven. So I don't think they should really be taking this chance. I think they should stick with Tua, and I think he might end up, just being the right guy. But then again, you never know.
Well, also, there is no guarantee Tua falls to the Dolphins at 5. They still might have to trade up. But trading up from to number 3 or number 2 as opposed to number 1, it's a difference of probably another first-round pick. I think that the Dolphins, this move, while I love Joe Burrow as a prospect, and I think that he is going to be a fantastic NFL quarterback, I don't think this move makes sense for the Dolphins or for the Bengals. I think that the Dolphins, they have so many draft picks that they can fill so many holes, and they have such a young team that can fit with Brian Flores. They made some good free agent signings. I think you throw in Tua behind Ryan Fitzpatrick for a year if they can get Tua, and you fill in the wide receiver, you fill in the offensive line with the other first-round picks, that team could have a scary offense. As for the Bengals, why would you trade away your chance at drafting the hometown, home state kid who just came off one of the best college seasons of all time? I wouldn't answer the phone right now if I was Cincinnati.
Well, if the Dolphins are willing to somehow give up 4 first-round picks, if you're Cincinnati, I get it. I know that's your guy. That's the hometown kid. But 4 first-round picks, and you could still be there at 5 to take either Tua, unless he gets picked by another team, or Justin Herbert, or even Jordan Love. So, yeah, maybe they won't be the best quarterbacks in the league compared to Joe Burrow. But when you're talking 4, 3, 4, 5 first-round picks, second-round picks, it's a huge haul. And if the Dolphins are willing to give that up, which I don't expect it and I don't think they should, but if they are, I don't know. If I'm Cincinnati, I'd be enticed.
That's actually, if they trade 4 first-round picks, they are trading 1 pick per every spot they move up, which would be, that would be insane to see that happen.
I mean, it's not worth it. I mean, for the team that would be getting all the picks, I would do that in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it because at the end of the day, just like you said, Steve, it's about not just the one player, even though he's highly regarded as, a top prospect, a top quarterback in the draft. You could fill multiple positions. So that's something where I think they really should hold on to. Now, if I'm another team and they're offering me that, I'm taking that. There's no way I turn that down because this is something where you could potentially change your franchise just with this one move.
Yeah, it depends because you don't really know how the Bengals feel about Tua or even Justin Herbert. If they don't like Herbert as a prospect and they don't think that Tua can stay healthy, then there might not be even like an asking price. They might just not even answer the phone.
Well, if the Bengals want to take Pablo's advice, and last week he predicted Trevor Lawrence to go there, you take the picks, you move back, maybe you trade back again. All of a sudden, you have like 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. You save those, you trade up for Trevor Lawrence the next year, and Pablo, you'd be right for the first time in a while. But let's go from a potential first-round pick to a past first-round pick. You got Jadeveon Clowney. He's still on the open market. There hasn't really been much news about Jadeveon Clowney, which is surprising to me because I thought this guy was going to be signed the first 2 days. The rumor has it he was asking for too much money, and now he's lowered his asking price, but teams have started to move on. Where will Jadeveon Clowney end up?
It's tough to say because of Seattle's cap situation. I don't think they even have enough cap space right now to sign him to even like a $17 million deal. I still think that there's a good chance that he's either a Giant or a Jet. I think then between them, Seattle, who else is in that? Did they say
the Titans?
Like, the Titans. Yeah, I actually do like the Titans as a fit because it's interesting because before free agency started, that Jadeveon Clowney, he said that he wanted to go to a winning team. He wanted to like compete for a playoff spot, and he really. No matter if you're a fan or not of the Giants or the Jets, they're really not there this year, at least. So it makes sense for him to go to Seattle or Tennessee over New York.
Yeah, no one in the NFL on the defensive line deserves $20 million a year unless your name's Aaron Donald. At this point, $20 million is a ridiculous amount per year unless you're Aaron Donald because you're the best player on defense, best defensive player in the whole NFL by a wide margin. This guy is ridiculous. But when you go to Clowney, even $17 million, I feel like that's a little high. Teams are still going to be skeptical about that because he's had production, but he hasn't been a world beater in the NFL so far. So if I'm the Giants or if I'm the Jets or the Titans, I'd be looking at 15 to 15 and a half range. I'd like that a lot more. Feel a lot more comfortable with that.
I don't know. Honestly, you guys both bring up a lot of good points. When you look at a defensive player, you look at somebody who's going to, stop the run game, or just stop the scoring game. That's their goal. Now, is a player like that really worth, $20 million a year if you're not the number one and the best at your game? I'm really not sure. So I think you guys both bring up some very good points.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I don't think that Clowney is definitely not worth the $20 million he was asking for. $17 million. Now that is a little more. If a 1-year deal, $17 million, I'd consider it. 2 years, maybe $30 million, 35. But if you want a long-term deal like that, the league salary cap is going up in the next 3 years. The TV deal money will be coming in, so the deal won't look as bad. He's trying to get his money now, but he's coming off a 3-sack season. You're not going to get $20 million for 3 sacks, unless your name is Leonard Williams, apparently. You're not going to get paid for not getting sacks. My personal opinion, I think Clowney's going to end up on the Tennessee Titans. I think he's already close to signing there, and they're trying to clear up some money. I would love him in New York. Neither the Giants or the Jets. I think he'd be a perfect fit for either of those defensive lines. I think he'd be a great fit for the Jets. I think they'd have a scary defensive line if Clowney went to New York. For the Giants, they have a need. They have no pass rushers. Yeah. They literally have a bunch of unproven pass rushers who have never gotten more than like 5 sacks in a year. So I think the Giants are more likely to sign a guy like Cameron Wake or maybe bring back Marcus Golden. But if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say Clowney's a Tennessee Titan by the end of free agency. But I don't see an end in sight, honestly. No. Let's switch gears and go to the Major League Baseball. And I know this is a topic that's going to get Pablo heated. Now, there's rumors that we may not even see any sports this year, and 2020 will be canceled. So per se, the MLB season is canceled. They said that the Astros suspensions would be counted, and AJ Hinch and Jeff Luhnow would be eligible for hire in 2021. Pablo, you got to tell me, is this fair?
Well, Steve, number one, we all know the answer to this. It's not fair. It doesn't matter if you're a Yankee fan, if you're a Met fan, if you don't want sports. If you're familiar with this situation, you know that this is not fair. Now, I understand that these guys like AJ Hinch and Jeff Luhnow, and I'm not sure if was Alex Cora mentioned in that report.
They didn't say Alex Cora, but I would figure he would be eligible as well if he only got a suspension.
Well, actually, I don't think anything happened to Cora yet.
Yeah, I don't think they gave his.
They didn't release anything yet. But even though these guys are very talented at the sport, I don't think that even after this year, a team is going to give them a chance only because of what they have brought, to their team and to their whole franchise. Just such a shame. Now, when you talk about being fair, it's definitely not fair because what kind of a punishment is that? I mean, it's almost like you're punishing. Honestly, you're not punishing anybody because the whole MLB was punished because of this stupid Corona thing, and now since there's no season, you're just going to throw that all in together. It doesn't make any sense, honestly. If there's no season this year, which I hope it does not come down to it, I think the suspension should be moved into next year. I think that not only are they gone for this year, but they should be also gone for next year, because it doesn't make any sense, especially if you haven't played any games. I mean, what kind of suspension are they really serving,
Yeah, canceling the season seems pretty unlikely. I wouldn't bet on it, but I mean, it is a possibility, and it's something that you have to think about and make these decisions of whether it's going to count for service time, for service time for guys like Mookie Betts that can screw over a lot of teams.
It's not even fair.
It's not. I mean, just common sense. I know it can get tricky legality wise, like when there's money being involved and stuff, but like common sense, like morally, it doesn't feel right that someone can get suspended and then not miss any games pretty much, because he's not missing any more games than a normal responsible player would miss.
Yeah, it should be 162 game suspension. I mean, These guys aren't serving any time. All they did was get fired, and you see coaches and managers get fired all the time. Like, what type of punishment is that? It's very weak. It looks weak for the MLB. And I really hope that they got to reconsider this, because these guys should be 162 games they should be suspended for. And hopefully if the season gets canceled, that's going to suck. But if it does get canceled, you got to give them 162 games. Or if they shorten it, if they do 80 games this year, give them 80 games next year.
How lucky would they be if the season does get canceled and they didn't miss anything? They just can start from scratch, and this won't even be the thing at the top of people's minds anymore. It's all the coronavirus that's taken over. I personally think that they should be suspended, but I think that's tough to try to keep them out of baseball for 2 years when you said it'd only be 1 year. I don't know how they would go about that. I think there might be some legal action then. But I think that if AJ Hinch is available to be hired, he's going to be hired by somebody in some capacity. This guy, he's still a great manager. No matter what you think of him, I think that if he's available, I can see his buddy Brody Van Wagenen bringing him in as an assistant coach or something, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised.
They fired Carlos Beltran for that cheating scandal, and they're going to hire the manager for that. That would be PR hell.
His buddy. Happened. Yeah, his buddy.
They are best friends.
They are buddy.
All right, let me ask you this, right? Number one, Dan, I absolutely agree with you. Whatever, let's say the season is 50 games, 60 games, 70 games, 80 games, 90 games. They should serve that, and then next year they should just continue it until you get to a full 162 game season. That is how long the suspension should be. Now, as well as a guy like Domingo Germán for the Yankees, right? We all know that he is due to be serving his domestic violence suspension. Now, are you going to tell me that if the season is canceled this year, he's just going to start next year? I mean, if that's the case, what kind of punishment did he serve? Because if nobody else played and he didn't play, we're still going back to the same AJ Hinch thing. There was no punishment. That he didn't. You cannot learn your lesson if everybody is on the same page and not playing as well. I mean, it's almost, you might as well just have him play and have nobody else play, and then everybody, just look at him. That should be his punishment. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I like how Andrew brought up the idea of the service time, because that's a big question I have, is how you would count that. Would these guys who have 1 year remaining on their deal be free agents if there's no season? Like the Dodgers and Mookie Betts, they traded these prospects for what? Just for him to sit at home wearing Dodger blue?
Well, yeah, that's the problem. That sucks. And people are going to be like, oh, they should just serve another or play another year under that same contract. Well, people are getting older. Guys are getting older, and this is their careers. And you're holding them back on a contract when they're in their age 31, 32 season, like getting older, and they're just wanting this big money. And you got to push them another year, and their production may go down. It screws a lot of guys, and you got to just move on with it. It sucks, but you got to move on with it.
Yeah, you got to think if you're Mookie Betts and say this year never happens, and then they extend his contract by a year because he didn't play a game. And in his walk year again, he tears his ACL and doesn't get a long-term contract after that. He's missing out on hundreds of millions of dollars if something like that happens. So with the money involved, it would suck for the teams. It would suck for the Dodgers to lose all those prospects for 0 games played for Mookie Betts. But that's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I don't mean to cut you off, Steve. Right? Let's just say the season is 60 games, right? And Mookie Betts, he bats .210 and he barely drives in any runs. And, in the outfield, he just forgets how to catch a ball. That is also going to affect the kind of money that he makes, just because the season is not as long and he's not able to kind of like showcase his talent. I mean, not just him. There are guys like Didi Gregorius for the Phillies who signed a 1-year deal with Philly. He's probably, you don't know if he's going to get the same kind of contract for another year. He might get, even half of that, because the last time they saw him, perform was in 2019 with the Yankees. That could be 2 years by that point. A guy like Dellin Betances, he has a clause in his contract. Something like that, it wouldn't automatically be voided, or are you starting it next year? Things like that just don't make sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of contract talk that the MLB has to engage in now, that the season is going to be completely different and the stats will be skewed like we talked about last week. Things will be cheapened in the eyes of some people. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But one thing I want to talk about is, Pablo, you're wearing that Yankees hat. I know you love going to Yankee games, but we know New York is the epicenter of this disease in really the world right now. They are the worst, have the worst outbreak. And they're saying that the Mets and Yankees are talking about playing games in a remote neutral location because they don't know if they're going to be able to have home games. What would your thoughts be on that?
Well, number one, I do think that as the days go on, as we're finding more and more about the situation, that the thought of having Major League Baseball start with no fans is growing more and more likely. Because the longer and longer they wait, we're just going to go into July, end of July, with no baseball. That's only going to shorten the season. So I do think they really have to look into doing something like this. Now, when you talk about having a season with no fans, right, what are the Major League players going to do? Let's say the Yankees are on the road or a team comes to New York. Where is this team going to stay? Are they going to be allowed to leave the hotel, or are they just going to be...
That's what they're talking about. That's why they're saying the Mets and Yankees have to play in a remote location like Florida or like Arizona. They've apparently, the pitcher from Zach Britton, he was talking about the teams have already discussed 4 to 5 different locations. And he said he wasn't supposed to tell anybody that yet, but the word is out there. They're thinking about it. And I think that this baseball will come back in other cities. I can't see it being played in New York this year, the way that the disease is spreading out there.
Yeah, well, and they're predicting 100 to 200,000 deaths in New York, and we're only at 4,000 or 5,000 in New York right now. So I don't even think this is going to be the decision of the Mets, the Yankees, or even the MLB. It's going to be Governor Cuomo of New York saying you're not going to have any. There's just no way there's going to be any events held in New York. There's no way that people are going to be visiting other opponent teams coming in and staying in hotels because they're not going to be open yet. New York's going to be shut down for a long time, and it's not even going to be the MLB's decision to do that. It's just going to be the Governor Cuomo's.
And to interject real quick about the point about Cuomo is that Toronto has actually already done that until June 30th. So the Maple Leafs and the Raptors, if the MLB, if the NHL and NBA season gets back started up, they can't play in their home arena because they already banned public gatherings. And a public gathering is not just a big game with people there. It's the teams and the commentators and the broadcasters. That's enough to classify it as a public gathering.
Yeah.
So even with no fans, it's not looking too likely in New York.
Yeah, I think there'll be games in New York for baseball eventually this season. It'd be tough to see they come, because even if you have to play a month or 2 months without fans in Arizona, that's better than pushing back the whole season an extra month or month and a half just for 2 or 3 teams that are in hot spots for this virus. I mean, you'd rather just get the games in. And if you're a baseball fan, you'd rather just see them play on a little league field if you have to, just so you can watch them on TV. That's what fans miss the most. I mean, yeah, you go to 3, 4, 5 games. It sucks that you can't go there and see them in person. But if you can get 82 games on TV, I think every fan would take that right now.
And especially if there are no fans going to be allowed in city play, it really doesn't matter where they play. If you can't go, it's just going to be on TV.
At that point, it wouldn't really bother me if there's no fans, as long as I get to see them play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I have to say is,
go ahead.
All I have to say is right now I need some type of sports. I'm home and I'm just so bored. I can take only but so much MLB The Show and just wrestling with no crowds. Yeah, we'll get to that later.
We have a lot of wrestling to talk about.
A lot of wrestling to talk about. This is our Wrestlemania preview and prediction show. There is just so much that the aspect that the fans brings to the table, to the spectacle of sports. I personally just think that they need to get baseball started. But the way that the world is shaping, the way that New York looks right now, the outlook is not very good. And I'm very worried as somebody who, all of us, we live in New Jersey. We see what's going on in New York. New York is the most famous city in the world. So we are so close to that, so close. And I just fear that is going to only affect New Jersey, Connecticut, Philly, a big place like California, Texas, Arizona. I think it's only going to spread. That is my fear. That is why, in the back of my mind, I do not feel too confident that the MLB season is even ever going to get started this year.
Yeah, being honest, looking at it looking from back, I don't see the MLB season starting till at least August, and there's not going to be fans. Definitely not going to be fans for the whole season. And I'd say August earliest right now. And when you look at the MLB, you look at the NHL and you look at the NBA, I don't see them playing regular season games. I don't know about the playoffs. They're going to have to look into doing maybe a March Madness type tournament in the NBA. Just make every team make the playoffs, whatever. Just do one game. Keep it on a neutral site every game. Have all the teams come to the same city, stay in the same places. Make it very, controlled, and get done with it. And there's just no way I see a rest of those seasons continuing.
And one group of people I really feel bad for is, it may sound trivial to say right now, but if your team was really good this year, like if you're a Lakers fan, if you're a Bruins fan, if you're a fan of a team who was going to be a major player in the finals, it must just suck to have that tape ripped away from you, like just so randomly, so suddenly, and you don't even know if you're going to get a chance to. Sports is so fickle that you could be great one year. You see it with teams every year in the NFL, and then the next year you're not even in the playoffs. You got to take those moments and you got to hold on to them. And Lakers fans, they just can't catch a break this year.
And judging from that point and that comment, I think we had a question from Chris Nunez that relates to this topic. You want to read that?
Yeah, we'll do that question now. This was a good question. Yeah. It was one of the best ones I think we've ever gotten because it's going to make you think. Chris Nunez says, if you had to sacrifice one of the 4 major sports to get the others back, so one sport has to go for the rest of, he didn't specify how long, but I'm going to say the rest of the year, and you get the rest of them back, which sport would you sacrifice?
Yeah, starting with me real quick. This one's easy because the Devils weren't having a good year this year. They were coming on strong by the end, but there was no hopes of making the playoffs. So NHL easily, but if you're talking just for the rest of my lifetime, that's a real big discussion. Then it's either the NBA or the NHL. I'd really have to think about that one.
I guess I'm next. Well,
definitely not the MLB.
Definitely not the MLB. Honestly, this is gonna surprise you. I would have to say the NBA. The NBA, it's just, I don't know. I know hockey. I'm not really big into hockey, but just the NBA, it's something I could really do without. And if there's a world where LeBron James is not on the TV 24/7, and I don't have to hear about Drake rolling his leg on ESPN because he's at a damn basketball game, I would love the life that I live. So I would probably sacrifice NBA. I don't care for it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Pablo just because the NBA is the least of the 4 sports that I'm passionate about. I think that's by a pretty wide margin too. I am a Knicks fan. How big of a Knicks fan am I? That's up in the air. But
here we go.
Yeah, I don't think it would really change my life that drastically if the NBA season just canceled.
You see, for me, this one comes down. I'm not going to pick football because I love the NFL. I love my Giants. Baseball, the Mets are going to be good this year, so I can't pick them. I'm going to take this a personal route. I'm going to go between the Rangers and Knicks and which team has been better this year. So I'm going to stick with my Rangers because the Rangers have been hot recently. But the Knicks, man, I can do without having to watch the Knicks and hearing James Dolan banning Spike Lee and banning all these other people from the arena. Go away for a year and come back, and the best thing you've done in my lifetime is bring back the other sports. that would be my choice. The NBA would go. I love basketball, but I could do without watching my Knicks for a couple of days.
That's quite a sacrifice, Steve.
Yeah, right. I'm a very honorable person for getting rid of my Knicks. So Dan, let's stick with you here. Khabib is out of UFC 249. This is heartbreaking for UFC fans around the world. This fight may never happen. What happens now? Where does UFC go from here?
Well, the UFC currently is looking at a Justin Gaethje option because you have Tony Ferguson, who's from the United States, and Khabib, who's from Russia. And he was training, and he went back to Russia, and then Russia went on full lockdown, so you're not allowed to leave the country. So Khabib wasn't able to leave the country to make the event. So that was his excuse for not fighting. Tony Ferguson was saying, well, you could have stayed at your training camp. You could have stayed in the States. You could have stayed anywhere else. Instead, you went back to Russia, and that just ruined it. So to me, I think it was a pipe dream that this card was going to happen. I really don't see it happening now because you had the biggest fight that every UFC fan has been waiting for, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, and it's just not going to happen. So now you look at Justin Gaethje, and it's like, all right, well, I wanted to see Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor. I feel like that's a fun fight. Justin Gaethje is a very fun fighter. It would be a fun matchup versus Tony Ferguson, but MMA fans like myself were disappointed because this is the fight we wanted to see. So now you're looking at an event. It's got to be in the United States because a majority of these fighters that were on the card are from the United States. And obviously with all the travel restrictions and from all these different, there's going to be a few more fighters that aren't going to be able to make it on the card, which isn't going to happen. Personally, I think you just push back the card at this point.
Yeah, I got to agree. Dana White, it was a valiant effort. Tried. You did all you could to get this fight to happen. It just isn't meant to be, and this is a fight that deserves to happen in front of a giant fan base in Brooklyn or in Vegas, somewhere where people will appreciate it. And Conor McGregor even chimed in on it too. So I think people had a little bit of an idea that McGregor might try to make a push to get in the fight versus Tony. But even that's a fight. You don't do that fight with no crowd. It's a fight you need the whole crowd for. So,
and I'm surprised Khabib or Dana White didn't get Putin on the phone. It's like, hey, let us ship him out here, just him and his team. Get him so the fight can happen, And they didn't even do that. Conor McGregor's not going to be able to do it because Ireland's in lockdown. The United States isn't letting people in. Just now you have Khabib, who, real quick, you have Khabib who's going to be fasting for Ramadan, and that's going to take a few months. And he can't fight while he's fasting because that's just not going to work out with your body. So this fight's not going to happen until maybe the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the whole world is on lockdown right now. Personally, I don't think this is that bad of a move because, like Steve said, this UFC is a major sport in the world. And the really big draw to sports is the reaction from the crowd. Now, I understand that something like this, especially while we have nothing to look forward to, would have been awesome to watch. It would have really, probably would have got amazing numbers, some of the best numbers, if not the best numbers they have ever gotten.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are not doing it, it's just a state that the whole world is in right now. So it's not something that you really could just be upset about, but more understanding and just have some faith that it will happen again somewhere down the line.
Yep, I'm gonna have to agree, and hopefully somewhere down the line this fight gets rescheduled because this is the money fight in the UFC. This needs to happen. But it's about that time. We've been saying it's our WrestleMania special, so we're gonna get to that. We got all the matches to go through for you. Let's get it started here. Some WrestleMania predictions for WrestleMania 36. I think it's gonna be the only sporting event which is for the next 2 months probably. So you're gonna have to enjoy this. It's 2 nights. It's Saturday and Sunday. We might do a live stream, watch along with us. So keep your eye open for that. Pablo, Gronk's hosting. He was on The Masked Singer yesterday. He was the White Tiger. I was disappointed he got kicked off. But Rob Gronkowski's hosting WrestleMania. That's always been a controversial thing. What are you guys expecting to see from Gronk at WrestleMania?
Well, honestly, the thing that WWE always does with their special hosts is to hype up the crowd. So where there is no crowd to hype up, I think he's kind of just going to go out there and kind of promote himself And this is not going to be the last time that we see Gronk, definitely. I do think eventually he gets in the ring. So whether, he hops in some kind of a match or some kind of storyline would be very interesting to see, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like you said, when those special guests come and interact with the fans, that's always awesome. And Gronk would be a perfect person to do that. But now I would just say you should have got like some stand-up comedian or something and just did it with him, make it a little more entertaining than Gronk just flexing his muscles the whole time and hyping up himself.
Yeah, Gronk's one of the most entertaining people in all of sports. So no matter what they do with them, I'm sure they'll find a good use to make it entertaining for people watching at home.
You're telling me you wouldn't rather have Dave Chappelle than Rob Gronkowski on
Dave
WrestleMania?
Chappelle and World Wrestling Entertainment? That would not work.
No, but I would take it. Dave Chappelle, the funniest man alive.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. Let me tell you.
I think he'll probably make some jokes, do some funny dance that he's been doing. His entrance song is like a giant Pitbull song. I think he'll probably spear somebody too. He's gonna have to take a bump, so we'll see what happens with that.
Do you think there's any kind of musical performance at this year's WrestleMania?
I hope not.
Do you think they're gonna have any type of special entrance?
Special entrance? I don't think so. I read that they were planning on doing a special entrance for Becky Lynch with that truck that she keeps driving around. That was going to be in her entrance, and they had her come to drive to the arena on Raw. So maybe they pre-record something, but nothing like we usually see. This WrestleMania is not going to be like anything we've ever seen. So
well, disclaimer, right? Not only is WrestleMania 2 nights, but it's also pre-recorded, so it's already been taped. The Raw after Mania has already been taped, which is the hottest crowd of the year. So that aspect of, hot crowds and new storylines, that aspect is gone. So that is something that is also going to be very interesting to watch is, do they try to make new storylines on a WrestleMania?
Well, what they said is that this is like Raw after Mania is like the season finale because they're not going to be having any new shows after that for a while. They already canceled Money in the Bank in May. So I think this will be good for wrestling. Everybody will be fresh when they come back. Show some old shows. The way this isn't working, hopefully they have a good WrestleMania show, good Raw after Mania. Then they go away for a bit.
Oh, I can't wait. Honestly, I just think all the riders to go home. Just
think about what they've done.
Yeah.
Think about what they've done and write some fresh television.
Yeah. Well, let's get through this card. Let's make some predictions. First match I got on here is the love triangle between Dolph Ziggler, Otis, and Mandy Rose. Rumor has it Mandy Rose is going to be named special guest referee for this match. Who's winning this match, Otis or Dolph Ziggler?
I'm going to go with Otis. Now, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but this is something where Otis has been so hot with the crowd that I can only imagine the kind of pop he would have received if he would have finally beat Dolph Ziggler and got Mandy Rose. I mean, the reaction from the crowd would have been phenomenal. That would have been one of the most things that you could look forward to. So I'm gonna say Otis wins here, but it would not surprise me if Dolph Ziggler won by Mandy Rose screwing over Otis. But you never know.
Yeah, I think Dolph Ziggler is actually going to win this match. I think he wins. I do agree with you. I could see some wacky last second like shenanigans that ends up winning him the match.
Here we go.
Yeah, give me the Dolph, man. I think Mandy Rose has a big part to play in this match.
Well,
I'm gonna have
fun fact about Mandy Rose. Her and I actually have the same birthday, July 18. So if she's listening,
thank you for
shout
that.
her out.
I'm sure she's listening right
birthday.
now. This is actually Dolph Ziggler's first ever singles match at WrestleMania, which is criminal. He's never had a singles match at WrestleMania. And I think he's going to lose. I think that Mandy Rose turns on him and her and Otis walk out of the Performance Center together. The next match I have written down, you have a match that was kind of thrown together in the last week. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley.
Oh, please. If anybody's listening here, right? I think that the Bobby Lashley Rusev Lana storyline was one of the worst that this company has ever put together. It honestly, it was to the point where so unenjoyable that this was just making it unbearable. I couldn't even see anything associated with Raw. I couldn't see anything associated with Bobby Lashley. his stupid move, Lana, her stupid TV show. So for everything, for all that is holy, Aleister Black should win this match, and he will win this match. He, in my opinion, should have been in a match in a storyline with The Undertaker.
Anybody want to take it after that? Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black?
Yeah, I'll take Aleister Black. They're really promoting him. He's going to be the next big thing. Give me Aleister Black.
I do think Bobby Lashley is going to win this fight. I don't have any rhyme or reason. I feel in my gut that he's going to win this match, so I have to trust my heart on this one.
I think this is the match that is the most obvious. Aleister Black is going to beat Bobby Lashley in probably under 2 minutes. I would be surprised if the match goes longer than that.
Hopefully under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Quick black mass, and then you're done. Next match is Elias, the Guitar Man, versus King Corbin. Two people that everybody loved to hate, but Elias is a face now. So who you guys got in this match?
Well, this is another match, right, where I've kind of put Elias and Baron Corbin or King Corbin in the same category as Bobby Lashley. In my opinion, they're get off my TV worthy. Elias is very good on the mic, but there's just something about him where I just don't care for him. A guy like King Corbin is one of their top heels in the company, so I'm going to go with Corbin winning.
I think this might be Danny D's lock of the week. And I might be going for Elias here because I think Rob Gronkowski is going to save him and help him beat King Corbin.
All right, so that's completely ridiculous. This is my lock of the week that King Corbin is going to win this fight for no other reason than that Elias is by far my least favorite wrestler on WWE.
You got to admit, he has a sweet voice, though.
Okay, but I don't like him.
I'm going to have to go with King Corbin here. As much as I don't want to, I just really can't see any reason for Elias to win this match. He's not going to go be Intercontinental Champion. King Corbin, he still can hang around that main event scene. So I think King Corbin beats Elias at WrestleMania. This match is one I'm actually kind of excited for. It's Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Who's going to win this match?
Dan, start us off.
No. Well, all right. I haven't really read up into this match that much so far.
I think Pablo might be frozen.
But
there goes Pablo.
All right. So,
I'm like Pablo. Please.
It's the first time ever. I honestly don't know what happened, so I'm gonna have to take the show from my phone.
I was trying to read up what was gonna happen.
I was like, please, somebody take it, Pablo. Where are you? All right. We'll do
opposite here. I'm just gonna connect to my.
All right, we'll do opposite order. I'll start off, then Andrew will go, then Dan, then Pablo for this match. I think that.
Wait! Didn't we pause it?
No, we're going.
The show doesn't stop.
The show goes on. So
you gotta pause it now.
No, he'll be good.
No, he's fine. Let's go.
He's back. All right, Pablo, you can start. I think he's frozen again. All right.
I'm not frozen anymore.
Yes, dude.
Steve, just go.
All right, I'm trying to. You keep cutting me off.
You're good.
All right, okay. 2 minutes of Pablo's technical difficulties. But before the score, we stay live throughout the whole thing. So Pablo returns to before the score to give us his prediction on Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens.
We're on that match now?
Come on, wake up, Pablo. Let's go.
Wake up. Let's go.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think that Kevin Owens needs this win more than Seth Rollins. But I don't know. This is a tough match, and honestly, I think this is one of the toughest matches on the card. I'm probably gonna have to go with Kevin Owens winning this match, and it's gonna be a hard-fought battle. These guys are two very good horses in the ring, but I think KO wins this.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that. I do agree with the fact that it's going to be a close fight. It's a pretty evenly matched fight. I do think Seth Rollins ends up winning this fight. I'm not the biggest fan of Kevin Owens. I do respect him as a fighter. I know Dan doesn't like him either, so I think I know which way he's going to go with this, but I think Seth Rollins will pull this one out.
Yeah, you know me very well, and you know that I am not a Kevin Owens supporter. But when you look at the size matchup with these two, it's a big difference. Kevin Owens is a big boy, and Seth Rollins has gotten a little soft lately, so I'm going to take Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Seth Rollins has been a little on a losing streak recently, but I think that he's going to win this match because they need to build him up because he's going to feud with somebody who wins later in the show. I won't spoil it. Next match we got is the women's tag team title match. It's Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus Asuka and Kairi Sane, aka the Kabuki Warriors. Pablo, who's winning the women's tag team titles?
This is another one where I think that WWE, they have completely, just not booked the Kabuki Warriors in any type of good way. So I'm probably going to have to say that Alexa Bliss and her tag team partner are going to win this match. I don't know. This is going to be a very unentertaining match. This is a title that should have never been even introduced in the first place. This is just kind of a filler just because they have, a two-night show. So I'm going to have to say that we're going to have a new tag team women champions crowd.
Yeah, I think your opinion of that is pretty biased considering you're in love with Alexa Bliss. But besides that, I do think the Kabuki Warriors will win this. I think Asuka is one of the most talented female wrestlers in WWE. I don't know how to pronounce the second girl's name, but I do think the Kabuki Warriors will win.
No. I thought you knew me very well. I guess not. I mean, I'm going to be very biased because I'm in love with Alexa Bliss. So I'm taking Alexa Bliss easily.
Here we go.
Yeah, I knew where Dan was going. Alexa Bliss, she does not lose in title matches. She does not. When she's booked in a title match, she usually wins unless she's a champion. So I think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are going to win the women's tag team titles against the Kabuki Warriors. The next match might be the best match on both nights. It's the Intercontinental Championship. It's Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn.
Wow, this easily is a WrestleMania main event. Now, these two guys, they're almost like clones of each other. When you look at how high Daniel Bryan was in the company, he was the biggest babyface that this company had seen in years. Now, a guy like Sami Zayn was kind of also being built up like that, especially in NXT when he had that huge feud with Kevin Owens. So these guys are almost like clones of each other, and they could very well tear the house down if given the time. So in this match here, I do not see Daniel Bryan winning, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, Daniel Bryan is untouchable in this company. Doesn't matter what they do to Daniel Bryan, he's always going to be the top guy in this company. And I would love to see a feud between Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. So as them being some kind of like a faction unofficially, I think that Drew Gulak screws over Daniel Bryan, and Sami Zayn already having his heel faction with Nakamura. And who else is in that faction?
Cesaro.
I think that Drew Gulak joins that faction, and we see kind of a new storyline build.
This man just took my exact prediction.
Yes.
Well, I think you're overthinking it, to be honest. You look at Daniel Bryan. He has one of the most infamous things he does with the crowd. Yes.
Here we go.
There's no crowd. No one to go yes with. They had to change it. Originally, he was going to be the winner. But now, no more yeses. Give me Sami Zayn. I'm taking him.
Okay, fine. I'll take the road less traveled. I think Daniel Bryan wins this match. I think he's one of the biggest faces in the company. I think he is on another tier, and he will not lose to a man like Sami Zayn. He is not going to lose this match. Give me Daniel Bryan.
Pablo, you literally said exactly what I was going to predict, so I don't even need to explain myself, but I do think this match is going to be fantastic. But Sami Zayn wins, Drew Gulak screws over Daniel Bryan, and that faction continues to grow. They don't have a name yet. They need a name. Next match is the Raw Tag Team Championships, and this is a match that I would never have guessed that these people would be going up for these titles at WrestleMania. But I love the Street Profits. It's the Street Profits against Austin Theory and Angel Garza. So who you got?
I have the Street Profits, and no offense to Austin Theory and Angel Garza, I just don't think they are ready for this title right now. I do think that all four men in this match are very, very well equipped and very skilled, but I just see the Street Profits as being one of the most over teams in the entire division, and I don't see any way that they lose. And like I have stated on previous episodes, they are the WWE version of Private Party. They're almost like the A and the B and the A. They're very similar, so I do think that they win here.
Okay, I'll give Dan a little bit more time to research this, but I already know who I'm going to pick. I think the Street Profits are definitely going to win this. I think they're the more talented bunch of the two groups. So I think under the bright lights of WrestleMania with no fans even, I think they'll pull it out.
Yeah, the Street Profits, pretty cool name, but I'm gonna go with Austin and Angel here. Austin Theory and Angel Garza for no reason.
Street Profits might be my favorite act in the whole company right now. I love watching. I think Montez Ford is a future world champion. That guy is fantastic. And I also think Austin Theory, who's only 22 years old, which is kind of depressing. He is awesome. And him and Montez Ford will be fighting over the WWE Championship someday, in my opinion. But I think the Street Profits get the win here. Next match I have is the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It's going to be a ladder match. The scheduled match is Miz and Morrison versus the New Day versus the Usos. But due to the internet, we have some possible spoilers. They're saying WWE's leaking things to trick people, but we're going to go off what the internet says. And this match has been changed to John Morrison versus one Uso. We don't know which Uso is because they're twins. So we're not going to know until WrestleMania. But the winner gets the tag team championships. So between Morrison and the mystery Uso, who do you got?
That's a good question. Honestly, that couldn't sound any more lame. Why wouldn't they just why wouldn't they just scrap the match and have it like some other point? I don't know. I don't get it.
And what happens to the New Day? Why are they?
I don't know. Yeah, where's the New Day?
That's what I was wondering.
You have three New Day members. You can't just give one of them to Morrison and just I don't understand. But I think that the titles are taken off of Miz and Morrison, and they're going to put on the Usos here, especially with that whole controversy of the Miz, being sick and not wanting to perform. I think that Vince, the way he is going to be like, all right, you know what? The title's going to be off you until you're all good and until you want to show us some respect and to show that you're willing to perform every week. Now, then again, these are only reports, so we never know. But I do think that the Usos are going to be new tag team champions here.
I think I have to agree with you a little bit. I'm not a huge Morrison fan. It's hard to pick one of the Uso twins because you don't know who it's going to be. But I think that mystery factor, that unknown factor of this is going to vote in their favor. John Morrison can't prepare for someone who doesn't know who he's going to be fighting. So,
well, I was going to go with the New Day, but apparently that's not an option anymore. So I'll take the mystery Uso. That sounds good.
Yeah, normally I would agree with you here, Pablo, but I think that if it was anybody else besides The Miz coming in sick, that the titles would be off him. The Miz would be off TV for months. But The Miz is WWE's golden boy. He has the show on USA. They put him in every Marine movie. So I think they keep the titles on John Morrison and The Miz. I think he beats whatever mystery Uso shows up to WrestleMania. Next match is the SmackDown Women's title. It's a fatal five-way. You have the champion Bayley against her best friend Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Tamina Snuka, and Naomi. So which one of these five women are you picking?
Well, number one, before I get started here, WWE, they have an infatuation. I'm not sure if I use that word right, but they have an infatuation with putting every performer on the show. And there's nothing I hate more than having a 5-people match, a 5-person match, a 5-way dance. I hate it, absolutely hate it. There is too much going on in the ring. Now, as I said, the Usos are going to bring home the tag team gold. And you know who else is going to bring home some gold? It's going to be Naomi. Naomi is going to be the SmackDown Women's Champion. And to be honest, Naomi is one of the best performers they have in this company. They don't take Bayley seriously. They don't take Sasha Banks seriously. Lacey Evans, for some reason, Vince has a crush on her. She has no talent whatsoever, aside from being good on the mic. She's very boring in the ring. Tamina Snuka, I don't even know why she's in the match. She might as well take a fatal 4-way. So I think Naomi walks away with this title here.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of concerned that I'm agreeing with you this much. I do think Naomi's she is gonna win this match, and I agree also that I don't watch wrestling that much, but when I do, stuff like Fatal 5-Way doesn't interest me as much as like a really good like solo like one-on-one match or even a tag team. I do agree that there's too much going on, so stop agreeing with me.
Yeah, Bailey and Banks, good friends apparently. Just learned that a minute ago. But they're gonna turn on each other, and Naomi is gonna win this match.
Now, I think Dan makes a really good point about them turning, but I don't think it'll come at WrestleMania. I think it comes at SummerSlam down the line, if there is a SummerSlam. So I think WWE saves that matchup for then. I think Bayley wins after Sasha Banks tries to pin her. You get some funny heat between the two, and Bayley wins the match. She retains. Next match, you have the NXT Women's title being defended at WrestleMania. It's Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, and a match that I'm actually excited for. So who you got in this one?
Well, remember when you said that Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black was the most predictable, match of the entire card or cards? I would have to kind of agree and disagree, because there is no way that Charlotte wins the NXT Women's Championship. She is going to put on a very good performance. She is the best women's wrestler in the entire division. One day when Tessa Blanchard is in World Wrestling Entertainment, she is going to end up facing Charlotte Flair in the main event of a WrestleMania. I truly believe that in the back of my mind. Those are the two best women's wrestlers in the entire world. But in terms of Rhea Ripley, she is an up-and-comer. She is amazing at what she does. Her just body presence is incredible. She is huge. Her body stature is just off the charts, and she's very intimidating. So I think that Rhea Ripley is going to walk away with the women's title here, and she's going to retain.
So as we all know, this is the WrestleMania, and I think I have to go with the woman who has champion blood in her. Charlotte Flair has that pedigree. She has that talent. She has that swagger about her that I'm going to have to disagree with you that I don't think this is an easy win. I do think disagreeing with you that Charlotte Flair will win.
So during this whole quarantine, I've had a lot of free time, and one of my things I've been doing has been watching movies. And one movie I just watched was The Talented Mr. Ripley, starring Matt Damon. Good movie. So I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley, she's a beast, but Charlotte Flair, I think that she's going to win this match because Vince loves Charlotte Flair, and she's just going to keep winning women's championships. She hasn't won the NXT women's title in a long time, so she's going to get her name back on that belt.
Please.
The final. I know people would like
that's not
that.
best for business. I mean, I understand that you want to showcase, put more eyes on the NXT brand, especially with what's going on over there with Wednesday night EW Dynamite. But Charlotte Flair is on SmackDown, or she's on Raw. She is on the main roster. I think NXT is for women who are up and coming. I don't think that Charlotte would be very good in terms of development for the younger stars, in my opinion.
Yeah, she might hold him back. I would have to agree with that, but you never know. Vince, he's unpredictable. The final women's match of the night, you have the Raw women's title match, and it's Becky Lynch, who is now going on a year with the belt, versus Shayna Baszler. So who you got in this match?
Well, I'm going to take back what I just said. The last match isn't the most predictable. Definitely this match is. Shayna Baszler, there is no way that she does not win here. Regardless of whether I like her gimmick or hate her gimmick, I don't know why she's a vampire all of a sudden. I do think that she is going to walk away with the gold, and this is going to be yet another championship change of hands. And, Shayna Baszler, man, she is the most, I want to say, intimidating in terms of just in the ring. You don't, just the presence that she brings. You don't want to be in the ring, in the squared circle with Shayna Baszler. She is very, she can make you tap. She's very good offensively. She's a former MMA fighter. She, to me, is going to do I don't know. She's just going to make Becky Lynch look very, very ugly. She's going to make her look like a rookie. She's going to snap her in half.
Yeah, I get it that she's been going on a year with the belt, but I do agree that Shayna Baszler is going to win this match. I think it's good for WrestleMania to get these rising stars to put them in the spotlight and give them a big championship over someone who's held the belt for over a year.
So apparently, Shayna Baszler bit Becky Lynch's neck during Raw.
Yeah, it was pretty
Last
gruesome.
time we saw a bite was the Mike Tyson Evander Holyfield bite, and Holyfield won that off a DQ. No relation here, but Becky Lynch is going to win.
Thank you.
I like the little tidbit you brought up. But yeah, Pablo, I don't like this vampire gimmick Shayna Baszler has been pulling out. But I think I'm going to stick with this. I'm not going to change it every single match like you. I think this will be the most predictable match. And I think that Shayna Baszler beats Becky Lynch because Becky Lynch's act is just getting stale. She's going to take some time off, get married to Seth Rollins, maybe start a family like Ronda Rousey. And yeah, Shayna Baszler is going to take the title off her.
Well, let me stop you right there. In your opinion, why do you think that Becky Lynch is, why do you think she went stale, in your opinion?
She's just been doing the same act for 2 years now. She's the man. She doesn't take no shit. It's the same reason why people get bored at Roman Reigns. She's just corny. She has a corny gimmick now, and she hasn't evolved her gimmick in over a year. So that's why she's done still.
I also think, I don't want to drag this on, but I also think that Seth Rollins being associated with her and Seth Rollins looking like a loser has kind of just brought her down. And we saw Becky 2 belts, and we saw Becky Lynch on SmackDown Raw, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the pay-per-views. I just think that she just got stale, and regardless of the fact that, she's one of the best women's performers in the entire company, she just, I don't know, we all got tired of her. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, she was overexposed for sure. You got the Universal title up next, and this match was supposed to be Goldberg versus Roman Reigns, but as Roman Reigns confirmed on Instagram, he's not participating in this year's WrestleMania due to the coronavirus and his complications with leukemia. And it's not been confirmed. It may be confirmed tomorrow on SmackDown, but it looks like Braun Strowman, the monster among men, will be replacing Roman Reigns. So Goldberg versus Braun Strowman for the Universal title. Who you got?
Well, number one, I don't like the fact that we all know something and WWE is not telling us, because we know that match is not happening. So for what reason do they have it, Braun Strowman does not deserve that belt, man. He really does not deserve that belt. So I'm going to say Braun Strowman wins, but they're only going to do it so they can take the title off Goldberg. And man, just Goldberg, it's his time to go. Nobody ever wants to see Goldberg ever step foot in this ring again, unless it's, is he in the WWE Hall of Fame? Because if he's not, he should just be inducted and never come back again. I'm tired of him.
Again, another biased opinion from Pablo. He despises Goldberg. I'm a big Goldberg fan. I think he keeps his belt. I think he reigns supreme once more. I don't know. Maybe he wins. Is he allowed to win and ride off to the sunset as champion and just give it up?
He could.
Does he have to lose
so.
with it?
You can get rid of that title.
Yeah, I mean, he wins it, rides off into the sunset, and then just passes the torch along.
I'm sick of this whole Goldberg thing. Goldberg, not even the best gold guy, Stardust or whatever his name was. Better Gold Dust, Stardust, better wrestler. But the people, the WWE nerds that are getting mad about Roman Reigns dropping out, that's ridiculous. This guy had leukemia. He's one of the highest at-risk people when it comes to fatality. Let the guy sit back and watch from home. Ridiculous. Give me Braun Strowman. That guy's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, this was obvious. This would have been Pablo's most predictable. Roman Reigns was fighting. But now this match has gone from predictable to I have no clue who is going to win this match. On one hand, you have Goldberg, who probably didn't even want to be champion anymore. He probably was happy he was giving it up. And if he wins, he has to stay champion and at least wrestle another match. And Braun Strowman, who has been a loser for almost 2 years, is just thrown into the WrestleMania title picture. So there's no good way to get out of it. I think that Goldberg does win this match. I'm going to go with Goldberg because I think they'll save that Roman Reigns match for whenever they come back. But because Braun Strowman, he was hot 2 years ago, should have got the title then. It's too late now. He's not going to get the title now. Now, this match is one I was not excited for 2 weeks ago, but the promo work has been outstanding. And it's a boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. So who's going to rest in peace?
You want me to start with this?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, because apparently you don't like when The Undertaker comes back. But personally, I do. When we were watching the Royal Rumble, one of my predictions was the dead man would come alive. Well, now he's back alive, and there's no way he's dying again. Give me the dead man. He's going to win this match easily.
Well, this card is full of predictable matches, and a lot of people are saying that this is a very predictable match, and I don't see it that way. I mean, once Undertaker lost the first time, you could kind of like flip a coin whether the fact that he was going to win or lose in his matches. AJ Styles is one of the best performers in the entire history of this business. So I still think that the Undertaker is going to win because it is WrestleMania. But I think that AJ Styles is going to put up a good fight, and this is not going to be a very predictable match. Now, in terms of the Boneyard match, that's very weird. I don't know why it's called the Boneyard match. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Scooby-Doo or something. But,
to chime in real quick, the reason they didn't want to call it a graveyard match or a buried alive match or something like that is because of the whole coronavirus pandemic. So they believe that Boneyard was... but they believed it was more politically correct.
So what's the difference in a boneyard match and a normal match?
It's the
what's
boneyard
different
match.
about it?
You have to bury your opponent bury him alive. You throw him in a grave. That's just what I think is happening. I don't know.
So it's like the buried alive match.
Yeah, with the casket.
Yeah,
it's not a casket match. Buried alive, you just dump sand on your opponent.
This is tough to pick. I'm not. I think AJ Styles is gossed. I also am not a big fan of The Undertaker. Hot take right there. I've never really bought into all of his hype. I think so. In a buried alive match, per se, it's called a boneyard match, but that's how I'm picking this up as. It's hard to bury the dead man. So I guess give me Undertaker.
Now, for my prediction, The Undertaker, if this was the regular old Undertaker, I'd be looking. This is Big Evil returning, who just cut the best promo The Undertaker has had in 10 years. He called AJ Styles Alan James, or whatever his real name is. He said, you couldn't hang with me or Stone Cold or Booker T while you were over running around in TNA. This man, The Undertaker, is motivated. He's fighting for Michelle McCool. He went after the Styles clash, said it was a girl's move. So I think The Undertaker wins this match, and Big Evil is back. The American Badass has returned.
Well, isn't the Styles clash the finisher of Michelle McCool?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said my wife does your move better or whatever. I don't know what the name is, but it was funny.
I think it would be kind of cool if he came back, with that old gimmick. Is that confirmed?
Well, the promo he cut on Monday, he was in the American Badass attire, so I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Cool.
It's like a half dead man, half Big Evil, so we'll see. Now,
Z,
I do.
Z, do you want to chime in?
No.
Okay.
One thing I think about that match that will be good is the fact that it is a boneyard match. WWE can film it differently. It won't have to be in the empty arena, so I think it will be a little more entertaining. And another match also taking place on a different site one of the matches I'm most looking forward to is a Firefly Funhouse match between The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and John Cena. So who you got in that match?
I just pray that Bray Wyatt can actually win and just not be buried again at WrestleMania by John Cena. So I think that he's going to put together a very good showing, and John Cena, he's going to get his offense in as usual. He's going to, the 5 moves of doom. But my same method, my same theory, ABC, anybody but Cena. So I just hope the Fiend could, kind of bury John Cena, and I wish their match was a boneyard match because I'm tired of John Cena, bro.
This is probably my favorite match of the card, only because I'm praying that John Cena wins, just so it takes a little bit away from Pablo's experience in this. It will get him extremely angry, and that makes better content. So the next week he can complain all about how John Cena wiped the floor with him.
How can Bray Wyatt, or who is it, The Fiend? Sorry, The Fiend.
Yeah.
How can The Fiend beat John Cena when he can't see him? It's all day John Cena here, man. The Rise is back. Give me all that Cena, man.
I regret my
love
decision.
John Cena.
It's The Fiend. It's The Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
See you later. Give me Cena.
I think Bray Wyatt wins this match. The Fiend gets his revenge. The WrestleMania 30 match was very good. Crowd made that entire match. Now they just have to be great storytellers. Bray Wyatt should have won at WrestleMania 30. He exercises his demons through The Fiend, and he wins the Firefly Funhouse match versus John Cena. Now, this is the match. This is the match that I think should main event. It's not going to main event, but it should. It's the last man standing match, 9 years in the making. The best built match in a long time in WWE. Edge versus Randy Orton. Who you got?
Well, number one, this match I was super excited for, and there's not a lot of things in this business anymore, in this company anymore, that get me excited. I think this is going to be an all-out brawl, and I actually think that there being no fans and this being a last man standing match is only going to enhance this feud. And I love the fact that it has been built off, their prior history together with Rated RKO. I think this is going to be a phenomenal match, and I think it can easily go either way here. But I think that Edge is gonna, he came out of retirement already. He's gonna come out and he's gonna win this match.
You think Edge has the edge in this fight?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
This is you go
Personally,
Edge.
When I was watching Edge partake in the Royal Rumble, Edge just looks, how do I put it, terrible, man.
What?
He's got like his skull, like he looks so old, man. Like, how is this guy still doing it? He's too old for this company. You got to give me the Viper. The Viper, give me an RKO to finish it on him. I think Randy Orton, but it's going to be a very hard fought match. But Edge, get him out of the company. I'm sick of him.
This is a great fight, I think. I do agree that Randy Orton is a lot more built and looks like he's in much better shape compared to Edge. But I will bring up this point that you don't fight with your body, you fight with your heart. And I think Edge has that advantage going for him. I will say thank you, Edge.
Thanks,
I watched
Edge.
him in the Royal Rumble, and I was actually very impressed. He lasted a lot longer than he probably should have. He's gritty. He's going to win this fight.
I think this is going to be an awesome match. I think that there will be blood. This feud deserves it. It's going to be great. And I think Edge will beat Randy Orton. And my bold prediction is next year, Edge is going to be in a title match at WrestleMania, and he'll finally get back on top in LA. And Edge also, I do think he actually looks good in the ring, but his promo work has been phenomenal. He went away for 9 years. He started acting. He got amazing on the mic. So I think that's only going to enhance his character. Final match of the night, the main event. It's the WWE Championship match. It's Brock Lesnar versus the Royal Rumble winner, Drew McIntyre. Who's going to win the WWE Championship?
Well, I'm going to cover this shirt up because this is the only kind of wrestling shirt that I could find on such short notice. But I'm going to say Drew McIntyre. I mean, you do not give this guy the Royal Rumble if you do not intend on giving him the World Championship. So I think that Drew McIntyre is going to win, and it's going to be a typical Lesnar match. Lesnar is he's going to destroy McIntyre in the beginning. McIntyre is going to get his offense in. It's going to be a little bit back and forth. It's going to be a 10 to 15-minute match. Maybe not even, but I do think that McIntyre is going to win with the Claymore kick and secure his first world title.
This is another tough fight for me. Drew McIntyre, I'm not the biggest fan of because he lost me some money on the Royal Rumble. He did look very impressive.
He won me some money.
He won you some money. So he did look very impressive that fight. But I'm not a fan of Brock Lesnar either. I think his whole gimmick, I think his whole freaking act is played out. He's done the same crap from what I've seen for the past multiple years. So give me Drew McIntyre to win the Rumble and win the title belt.
Yeah, it seems that Brock Lesnar has been distancing himself a little bit from the company as of late. Not as much involved as he was at the time. I think this is the perfect time for the WWE to give it to McIntyre to build up a superstar in this sport. It's the perfect opportunity. I think McIntyre wins this match.
Yeah, I think this match would have been amazing with a crowd. I think this is going to be a fight. I think that it would have rivaled Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar from WrestleMania 31. McIntyre, if you look on Twitter, this man, I don't know where he's training, but it is some Rocky IV shit out there. He's barrels over his shoulder, mountains in the background. He's chopping wood. So this guy, there's no way he loses. He has the look. He has the move. I think that Drew McIntyre, he makes like Rocky IV and he completes the underdog story. He beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And that's all we got. We made it through the whole match card right there. I hope everybody enjoys WrestleMania, and we're going to try to do a live stream of it. Pablo, ask your Magic 8 Ball. For Mikey Ferro, he wants to know, will WrestleMania be good this year? So your Magic 8 Ball can answer that question.
All right, Magic 8 Ball. Will WrestleMania 36, WrestleMania Pirate Ship, WrestleMania No Fans Edition, will it be any good this year? Let's see. I can barely see it. We're having technical difficulties. Let's shake again. Yes. It just says yes. So
can you put that out to the camera? Can you prove that?
I can't see it, but
we're not gonna be able to see that.
We'll take your word.
I'll take your word for it.
All right, we got one final question. It's not wrestling related. It's about football. It's from Shaun Rauschenberger. And he says, which NFL draft prospect do you think will be bust? So anybody wants to take that? That's a tough question.
Okay, I'll go first. I think of all the guys who usually are the biggest busts are the guys that kind of have that pre-draft rise, who kind of come out of nowhere and just boost their value through the combine or their pro day, or just people just fall in love with their traits. I think a guy this year, and this is a trend for a lot of first rounders for this position, I think it's Henry Ruggs. I think before the college football season ended, I think he was more of like a later first round pick, maybe. Now people are talking about as arguably the best wide receiver in the draft and like a top 12 pick. So I don't see that out of him. I like him a lot as a prospect, but I think those speed demons and stuff, those are, if they don't kind of put it all together in the NFL, they can definitely have a lot of bust potential.
That's exactly where I was going, because you look at this wide receiver class, it's very deep and there's a lot of options. You look back 4 years ago, the Treadwell, Doxson, like that draft, most of them were pretty much bust. What was that, the year Michael Thomas, I think, got drafted as well, but he was later or something like that. I forget.
He was second round.
Yeah, he was a second round guy. He didn't even make it in the first round. He's obviously the best wide receiver. Yeah. So I was going to go that route. I think Justin Jefferson, I see a lot of hype around him. He had a good season. I mean, when you have going to be the number 1 overall pick throwing you the football, you're on the best offense in the country, it pads your numbers a little bit. I think Justin Jefferson, he has the talent, but I don't know if it's going to produce in the NFL.
Well, this is a tough question, because at the end of the day, all these guys, majority, are not going to live up to what they're projected to be. So I think it's going to end up being Tua. In my opinion, I think he's going to be a average, maybe a little bit above average quarterback in this league. But I just feel like he's the guy that we just hear so much about, and he's just not going to perform to the level that everybody thinks he is. So I'm just going to go with him as my pick.
You see, I got 2 guys, so I'm going to be a little more bold here. I think that Jordan Love is a guy that, but I think if he doesn't go to the right situation, he'll be a huge bust. He needs to go somewhere where he can sit for a year or 2 and he can hone his craft, because I don't think he's ready to step into a starting job just yet. And my other guy is a guy that I have on the New York Giants radar, so it scares me. But this is a tough position to transition to in the NFL, and it's Mekhi Becton from Louisville. I think this guy had an amazing college, but at Louisville, he never really showed me that he could be a top 10 pick. I think he's being valued there right now above other offensive tackles who I think are better, just because he ran a 4.5 or whatever he ran.
Yeah.
Those big men shouldn't run that fast.
No,
but
Yeah.
He's not running downhill in the NFL. It's not going to matter. So I think that he could be a bust at his position as well.
Yeah,
Well,
Mekhi
when you look
Becton
at
was
the-
probably my second favorite bust potential pick there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but going back to the QB situation, obviously, if you're not in a great situation coming into the NFL, you're most likely going to be a bust. So when you're looking at Jordan Love, you're looking at Justin Herbert. Like Jordan Love, you got to hope if you're him, you go to the Patriots or somewhere that you could be groomed into a starting quarterback. Same thing with Herbert. If Herbert gets thrown to the Wolves and he's starting next year, I just don't see Herbert having a long or good NFL career. I think he's going to be an absolute bust. But if he gets put into the right situation, maybe he'll have a chance. One guy that I really love in this draft that's not even going to go in the first round is Jonathan Taylor. I think he has immediate impact when he gets drafted to a team. If I heard the Steelers are looking at him reporting on him because they don't know about James Conner. I think Jonathan Taylor, if he goes to the Steelers, that's a very good fit.
Yeah, well, that's all we got for this show. Let's finish it off real quick with how's everybody doing with this quarantine? I know it's the second week of the show like this. How's everybody doing?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Steve. It's tough for everybody. I mean, this is bigger than sports. This is bigger than before the score. This is bigger than anything we've ever had to deal with as an entire nation. This is probably the most might go down as the biggest thing to ever happen in our lives. This is it's crazy, honestly. The whole entire, just the way we look at everything, our entire world changed in a matter of weeks. I remember the day we were filming and we found out that the NBA season was going to be put on hold, and that just seems like years ago. I honestly I can't remember the last time I saw an event with real fans. It's actually kind of weird to watch highlights of anything that has fans, any type of movie that there are people and crowds. Everything is very weird to me right now because that's something I don't see us getting back to anytime soon, and that's the sad state that the nation is in right now. So all I have to say is, everybody, please stay home. I said this last week, and I feel like a broken record. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. Don't have parties. Don't go and get haircuts from people at their houses. Just don't be stupid, bro. Just all I have to. I mean, that's all I really have to say. I've been playing MLB The Show. Shout out to my boy Max Wildstein. He destroyed me yesterday, and I'm not too happy about it, but it's all right. I got something for that next time.
Yeah, it's definitely scary considering the tri-state area that we live in is probably arguably the most affected, along with California and Washington, and I'm sure everybody around the country is impacted in their own way. It's just living in this area. Why is it?
Dan.
Dan took out his earbuds.
Anyways, yeah, our area makes it definitely a little more scary than the rest of the country. But aside from that, it's just personally annoying and boring because every day it feels like it's the exact same. So it just makes it go by even slower.
Dan, what are you doing during this?
Yeah. So right now, my most important thing I'm doing is growing out my beard, seeing how long I can get it. Been doing this for about a month now.
You're gonna catch me?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get it that long, but it just comes out very the hairs just start falling out. So we'll see how long I could last with this. I'm starting to get hair in my food, which is annoying, but we're gonna keep going with it. Been watching movies. Netflix just at the beginning of the month just put a bunch of movies on. We're gonna be watching Taxi Driver soon, so that should be interesting. I haven't seen that. And
that's Robert De Niro.
Yeah, Robert De Niro. You talking to me? You talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Yeah. So
So
I'm gonna watch that movie. Try to watch some more movies. And just keep playing Call of Duty, I guess.
Zonak, you want to chime in?
Been doing the same thing since last week. Just working, Call of Duty, just driving around aimlessly without a plan.
That doesn't sound very
Sounds
fun.
depressing.
Well, I mean, I
It sounds depressing, but it's honestly not that bad.
It's just like every other day.
Pretty
I have
much.
perks working where I work because I've gotten 2 haircuts since this whole thing started. I got a haircut on Tuesday, so I'm pretty sleek right now. So I might even get a haircut.
Shout out your boy. Shout out your boy.
Just because I can,
Paul,
Yeah.
I might need a haircut soon,
Yeah.
dude. My hair's getting kind of long.
You might have to break one of those inmates out to give me a haircut if this goes too much longer. Yeah, I'll finish us off. It's like Andrew said, every day is like the same. I wake up, I work out, I do homework, I watch TV, play video games. That's really it. There's not much else to do. I watch highlights of old sporting events because that's what that's what I always do. Just watch sports, and now I can only watch stuff that's already happened. It's kind of depressing.
Yeah, but ESPN just had the NBA Finals on, and they cut out the last 2 minutes, like ridiculous, of the 2016 NBA Finals. Like you miss Kyrie's shot, you just see the block, then it goes to commercial break, and then it's LeBron hoisting the championship. It's like, what are you doing, ESPN?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Going back to your workout point, I only got 15-pound dumbbells, so I only can do so many things. I'm getting pretty annoyed. I need to get back to the gym, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, mine go up to 50, so I'm lucky. I can still do something.
Oh, you're lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody needs a Netflix show to watch, big recommendation. I know Andrew's going to agree with me.
There we go.
Ozark Season 3 was phenomenal. I think it was the best season of the show so far. Very impressed, and I can't wait for Season 4. So, yeah, that's all we got for episode 16 of Before the Score, our WrestleMania special. I hope we were able to bring some joy to you for an hour and 20 minutes. Everybody stay safe, stay home, and we'll be back next week.